Welcome back. Well, Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, has been in a state of turmoil following elections on the 8th of February, which saw a stalemate achieved with no party receiving a majority. Fine Gael, who have been in power for more than a decade, won just 35 seats, trailing the left-wing Republican Party of Sinn Fein, which won 37. And the popular vote went to Fianna Fáil, which secured the greatest number of seats at 38. Sky News contributor Cory Bernardi joins me from Adelaide, and co-host of The Outsiders and opinions editor at the Daily Telegraph, James Morrow, is with us in Sydney. Gentlemen, that was a pretty dramatic result in Ireland, and there's lots of toing and fro now as to who's going to run the country. But I tell you what, Cory, I mean, you're about my age. You go back a long time. I didn't think I'd see Sinn Féin with this air of respectability and picking up that number of votes.
It's extraordinary, Peter. I know that many Irish people are desperately concerned that Sinn Féin has past has been erased or effectively forgotten. And we shouldn't. They were the propaganda arm of the Irish Republican Army. They were complicit in heinous crimes, and now they've positioned themselves as a left-wing populist party, and hoping that people will forget about their engagement with a terrible part of history in Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, it really was terrorism before terrorism had, even then it had a religious component, but it was a terrorism, if you remember visiting London, James, certainly for most of the 70s and 80s, you couldn't find a rubbish bin to put your empty containers and things in because rubbish bins were bomb hiding devices. And the Thatcher era and others, we saw Lord Mountbatten. I mean, it just beggars belief that they're now likely to hold some real power.
It is absolutely extraordinary, Peter, and I'm glad you mentioned the past, because that is that's what I kept thinking about. You know, I remember my childhood, my earliest memories watching the news were often about bombings in Ireland, bombings in London, you know, the troubles, the terrorism that was going on all over this sort of religious nationalist fight between the Irish and the Catholics and the Protestants and everything. And it was just extraordinary to see these guys gain, as you say, some measure of respectability. I mean, you might as well see Hezbollah or somebody like that wind up with power in a European nation, I mean, for all their respectability.
Look, there is talk that there may well be a united Ireland out of this. We know that there's obviously all the issues with Brexit, EU borders and things like that. Cory, do you think that's going to happen out of these elections and also the broader issues with the EU?
This is a real challenge, Peter. I mean, I'm married to an Irish woman, and she'd love to see a united Ireland, but not everyone feels like that. In the north, there are many people who are very patriotic towards England and the role there, and so I don't want to see further division. What I want to see is the Irish populace be able to get along as well as they possibly can. I do want to see the UK out of, well, it's out now, out of Europe. I think that's a net benefit. But how they manage this Northern Irish and Irish problem, which I think is going to, it's just going to bubble to the surface again now because of the border difficulties and so on. So we're going to have to watch this space, but I hope there is a united Ireland personally.